Hello and welcome to Convict Inc. My name's Robert Rosso. I'm going to be the host of the show. And this is the introduction of the first video I'm putting out here for Convict Inc. Before I go any further, I would like you to please hit the subscribe buttons. I need as many people as possible to help support me. Maybe if you don't want to do it now, give me a couple videos. If you like it, subscribe. Please tell some friends and just support me in any way you can. Coming soon, there'll be t-shirts, coffee mugs, stuff like that. Perhaps by Monday, I'm not sure. You'll see a lot of changes here as the show grows. For one thing, this paneling in the background will disappear. 1970s paneling as I get my office space ready. Right now I'm in my dining room area of my house, and this is we're gonna get it started and see. So the purpose of today's video is just to give you guys a little introduction and tell you about me, about the show, tell you where I'm going, what's coming down the line. So there's a lot of prison-based shows out there, and I'm not competing with them. There's guys that are really good out there. Chad Marks, Larry Lorton, there's quite a few. I've been watching them, and props to all those guys, and I hope you guys watch them as I hope you watch me. I'm not trying to outshine. I'm not trying to be in competition with. I would like to think there's enough room in this space of prison shows. So let me get started. So let me tell you guys about myself first. As I said, my name is Robert Rosso. In 1997, right here in the Western District of Arkansas, federal authorities, federal, state, local authorities executed a search warrant on my property and ultimately took me into custody for drug-related charges. As I was also a parole violator at the time, so I couldn't make bond. And as I was in custody, awaiting the prosecutor's decision, that is to charge me state or charge me federally, they came at me, offered me a couple deals, the last of which was a cooperation or a snitch deal. First, they offered me 5 years, and then they dropped it all the way down to 2 years to be an informant. I declined. And when I declined, they decided to federally indict me. And not only did they federally indict me, but they came at me with what's called an 851 enhancement notice. That is the federal equivalent of the 3 strikes law. Although there is no quote unquote 3 strikes law in the federal system, there is an enhancement statute known as Title 21, USC 21-851. I think I said that right. I might have got that wrong. Anyway, that is, if you have 2 or more prior convictions for a drug offense, they can put the enhancement off on you, and if convicted, it's an automatic life sentence, automatic life without parole. The statute since changed, but that's neither here nor there at this time. Anyway, at arraignment, I was told the only penalty I could get is life without parole. So if I would have pled guilty, life without parole. If I would have went to trial, got found guilty, life without parole. So obviously, I took it to trial and ended up with life without parole. And that was in July. I was sentenced to life without parole in July of 1998. When I entered the federal system, I was originally sent to the United States Penitentiary in Leavenworth, Kansas, also known as USP Leavenworth at the time. And Leavenworth, when I got there, it was rocking and rolling. I'm not going to say it was the toughest joint in the federal system at the time. I'm not really sure about that. Rocking and rolling it was. And I ended up spending about a total of almost 5 years. So I got there in September 1998, and I was basically expelled from the prison in October of 2002. So during my time at Leavenworth, I began using heroin, began using drugs intravenously. I partied hard. A lot of people don't understand what it's like in federal prison. A lot of people get upset when I talk about what a great time I actually had in maximum security prison for a number of years. And I did. Not to say that it's a picnic or anything else, but there was times because I was so fucked up, for lack of a better word, I had a blast. I was covering up the pain. When you're in your early 20s, I was 27 when I got life. When you're in your late 20s, or in your 20s, I should say, you're sentenced to life without parole. What do you do for a drug conviction, a nonviolent drug conviction? By the way, what do you do? Well, in my case, I'm an addict, so I covered it up with alcohol and drugs. I also joined a prison gang, the largest federal prison gang at the time, white federal prison gang at the time. And I became actively involved in prison politics, etc. So from Leavenworth at the end of 2002, because of gang activity, me and some of my brothers were transferred to the United States Penitentiary in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, also known as USP Lewisburg. At Lewisburg, I continued with gang activity, and at one point from about 2005 to 2007, or I'm sorry, about 2003 to 2006, a little murky. I was the so-called shot caller of the gang, also known as having the keys to the car, or the leader of the gang, whatever you guys want to say. At Leavenworth, I also ran probably one of the biggest stores. I think there was one guy that might have been bigger at me, prison stores, and had a gambling ticket, was involved in all the reindeer games. Continued on that path of destruction. I also got a lot of disciplinary infractions or shots in the federal system. If you get in trouble and you get a ticket, it's called a shot. In my first 10 years of incarceration, I had 24 shots, most drug and alcohol related. The rest were violence, fights, assaults, some one with a weapon, not a stabbing, but I used a sardine can lid or a mackerel can and cut somebody. Anyway, so also in Leavenworth, I was diagnosed with first hepatitis C as a result of intravenous drug use, and then bladder cancer. And as a result of the bladder cancer, I was ultimately transferred to the Federal Medical Facility in Butner, North Carolina, or the Federal Medical Complex, FMC Butner. At Butner, there's a hospital, or FMC. There's a FCI 1, FCI 2, or Federal Correctional Institutional 1, Federal Correctional Institutional 2, or FCI 1, FCI 2. Low security, and a camp. I stayed in the hospital for a total of getting cancer treatment for a total of 10 months. And I was kicked out of the hospital, or sent out of the hospital, because they alleged I was having a relationship with the female staff member who was a nurse. From the FMC, or the hospital, I was sent to Butner FCI 1. At FCI 1, I became really close with former Colombo mob boss, or the Colombo crime family, however you want to say it, one of the 5 New York families, by the man by the name of Carmine Persico. Carmine Persico, also Joey Testa, that he was one of the Gemini twins. A lot of people know about Joey Testa. Daniel Castelli, or Kazi, he was a associate of Philadelphia mob, if you want to say. Those were the guys that became my friends. I also got clean in Butner 1 after a period of time. Well, actually, pretty recent into my stay. I almost overdosed twice on fentanyl and prescription pills while I was in the hospital, and I knew it was time to get my life clean, and so I did. Not saying that I haven't relapsed. I have many times, but I did do almost 4 years clean while I was at Butner. Also at Butner, after I decided to get clean, I started writing. Ultimately, I became writing professionally. I've written for Vice, Gorilla Convict, thefix.com, and probably my biggest claim to fame was I befriended or became friends with convicted Ponzi schemer Bernard Madoff, or Bernie Madoff. Through Bernie, I got a lot of international recognition, became close with a lot of national reporters, actually international reporters, whatever. A lot of people in the media, a lot of connections in the media I gained through Bernie. Some I still contact and am in contact with today. Some have helped me. A lot have screwed me. Madoff stuff, but you know, it's all good. So anyway, from FCI Butner FCI 1, I went to the Butner FCI 2 for a short period of time. I would say one of the better things that happened to me at FCI 2 was I met a guy named Cedric Dean, who is the founder of the SAVE project or SAVE program, SAVE. You guys can look him up. Cedric Dean's out there doing really big things right now in Charlotte, North Carolina and elsewhere. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to collaborate with him in the near future, and we're hoping to. After Butner in 2012, I was sent to FCI Terre Haute, or Terre Haute is the proper name. We called it Terre Haute or the Hut in Indiana. And there I stayed until April the 13th of 2021, when I was let free on compassionate release. Now, a lot of stuff happened, of course, at Terre Haute during those years I was there. And I guess I should back up real quick. When I was at Butner in 2010, a studying psychology student from Barcelona reached out, read an article that I wrote on the internet, reached out to me, and we became friends. We began an earnest correspondence. After several years, our relationship grew into something more. And in Thanksgiving, I actually met her face-to-face in 2014, November 1st, 2014, which was on my birthday. And we got engaged to be married on November the 17th, 2014. My fiance, who later became my wife's name, is Marta. And today she is here from Spain. She is she's a legal resident. And as I'm sitting here doing this video, she's working at what she once referred to originally as her dream job. Won't get into that, but she's doing really good. We're doing really good. And moral of that story is I married my pen pal. Actually, not the first pen pal that I married, but the other one, we won't talk about her right now. But anyway, so yeah, so here I am today. And I guess some of the reason I wanted to put out what I just did is I'm trying to give you a little bit of background so you'll understand that, give myself a little bit of credibility for this show. 23 years, 8 months, and 1 day is what I spent in federal custody. And I think that qualifies me as a federal prison expert. And I think anybody else in my shoes is also a federal prison expert, especially given the fact I ran the gamut from drug addict, gang member, became a professional writer, started doing legal work in prison, got myself out of prison by doing my own legal work. I had help in the end, but so I started doing legal work, and actually I'm starting a prison consultant and a legal assistance business under the same name, Convict Inc, but convictinc.net. So on this show, what my intent here to do is I'm going to tell you stories about my journey through federal prison. I'm going to do interviews with former and incarcerated inmates. I'm going to talk about crime, punishment, drugs, prison, you name it. My heart is really in criminal justice reform, but that's a really, really big arena. And right now, what I plan to do, I'm going to go hard with this YouTube show. I'm going to do 5 days a week. As I'm making this video, it's after 2:00 on a Thursday afternoon. I'm going to post this tonight, but I'm really going to go up with my first video. This is the introduction video, is going up Monday. I'm going to pick a time slot. I'm leaning towards 12:00 Eastern time, and so people can watch it during their lunch hour, but we'll see. I also need to learn how to edit. I don't know how to edit videos yet. I don't know how to include and put the banners. I don't know a lot of that stuff yet, but that's coming. This is a work in progress for me, and I hope you stick with me and give me a little bit of leeway on that. At some point, you know, this has got to look real professional, and I understand that, and it's going to, trust me. But like I said, there's other prison shows out there. Love Chad Marks. Larry Lorton, I guess the world's biggest jewel thief, I think he calls himself. Like his show a lot. There's a whole bunch of good ones out there, and I'm not copying them. I'm in the same arena as them. I just want to make that clear. Although I will say that Larry does some reviews on movies and stuff like that. I like that idea. So I would like to build off that. So I hope he finds that a form of flattery that I might be doing stuff instead of thinking of me as some guy who's just copying him, because that's really I did get the idea from him, and we'll see where it goes. But I'm going to go ahead and like I said, I'm going to talk about my journey through federal prison. I'm going to talk about the crimes I committed, what led me to a life sentence, how I got out of prison, how Marta and I's story. I'll probably have Marta come on here at some point. I really have a beautiful wife, you guys, and not just on the outside, but in the inside. I'm really a lucky person, very fortunate. And what I'd like to do here is I think all these prison shows, mine included, educate. Now, I've read some comments on, I did an interview with Chad Marks the other day about the Dirty White Boy prison gang. And I read some comments and somebody said that all these shows, or Chad Marks and all his guests, were glorifying violence because we talk about violence, some of the things we did in prison. And sure enough, Chad asked me some pretty pointed questions about violence, and I said it, and maybe and I was pretty direct about it. That's the life I lived for 23 years. Well, not all 23 years, but I was in prison, man, and that's part of prison. So I'm not trying to glorify it, and I don't think Chad is either. Chad says he does it. I think in his show, it's one of the issues is for helping children, and I'm going to tell you. So with each show that we do, no matter what our subject is, no matter if we're talking about gang banging, if we're talking about pen pals, no matter what area of prison or crime we're talking about, because we've been there and because we've experienced prison, and we are still a real vast minority in this country that is people that were incarcerated. Even though way too many people in this country incarcerated, we're still a vast minority. That is the people who have been behind the walls, inside the fences, especially those of us who've been for, years, decades of our lives. We all need to shout from the rooftops, tell our experience, whether that was good, bad, or ugly. Like I said, I had a blast in federal prison for a while. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And that's not right. I'm not saying that's right. I've said this many times. I've got my own idea what prison should look like. I've got thoughts and views about the death penalty. I've got thoughts and views about nonviolent drug offense and penalties, or, sex offenses, and so on and so on. We'll see where I go with all this. But everybody who's been incarcerated, man, everybody needs to talk about their experience. Everybody does. Because at the end of the day, the more educated we are, the more we hear. And again, if you're hearing me talk about what a great time I had in federal prison, and that pisses you off, which it should, then that's still... I'm still contributing to criminal justice reform, because maybe somebody can come along, or a lawmaker can see and say, hey, wait, what? What do you mean there's more drugs in prison than on the street? What do you mean guys are having a great time in prison? What do you mean they're staying drunk in prison? Duh, maybe we better figure something else out. It's all part of criminal justice reform. Every time you hear somebody's story and it wakes you up, sparks an interest, even if it pisses you off, it's still part of criminal justice reform. I believe that. So that's what Convict Inc. is going to be about. Now, I will say every time that I'm the host, this is my creation. I'll get into the whole thing about Convict Inc. one day. I actually am resurrecting this name. I started it years ago as a website, prison-based website, and it fell apart. Long story, but I stuck with the name Convict Inc., and I'm going to stick with it. And I say I'm the host of the show because someday maybe I'd like guest hosts. Maybe I'd like somebody else to do this if it gets big enough. I'm hoping it does. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm dedicating my time towards my YouTube channel, towards my prison consultant and legal assistance firm, corporation, whatever you want to call it. It's subchapter S Corp. That's the way we put it together. And I'm gonna do nonprofit. I'm gonna start or become a part of a nonprofit with some people soon, and that's a whole different in the criminal justice arena, like I say. But you know, I have to make money. That's why I'm doing it for profit as far as the consultant. That's just being candid. I have to make money. I have to support myself. I have to support my wife. We have to live. But I will be reading. I'm going to do some programs where you guys can talk to me direct. I'm going to get this all figured out. I know people will take shots at me. I know there'll be some bad stuff. I know it'll be good. Whatever. Whatever. That's cool. It's all part of the deal, right? Otherwise, I'm going to take suggestions from shows. I'm going to be paying close attention to comments. I guess comments that are rude or out of line, I guess I'll erase. I've kind of been trying to figure out what other people are doing about that. So I kind of follow suit there. Yeah, so I hope you guys have now got a good idea of where I'm going. I hope this was a good introduction. I hope I was clear enough. Again, I'm not editing right now. I've got to learn how to edit. So this is when I push that button, you guys are seeing me push the button. And I'm actually, the equipment I'm using right now, I'm actually using my iPhone. It's the newest iPhone, but that's what I'm using to do this right now. It's going to change, hopefully. Hopefully I'll have, screens all over and microphones hanging down and, hopefully I'll be the shit. No, you know what I mean. Hopefully I'll get there. But right now I'm winging it. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. And I hope you guys stick with me. I hope I can entertain, enlighten, and inform you all at the same time. That's going to be my goal. That said, again, please subscribe to me. And you know what? You don't have to do it right now. Like I said, wait and give me. Let me earn your subscription. Let me earn it. And if I do, if I can hold your interest, tell some people about it. That's what I ask. I don't need a freebie. I'm not asking for a handout. I want to earn this every step of the way. All right. Take care. Thanks for listening. And I hope you enjoy Convict Inc. And Monday will be the launch day. So whatever time I launch Monday, whether that's at 12 noon Eastern, Central, or later, I'm gonna look at some of the other prison shows. I don't want to bump heads with anybody, especially the guys that I really, like I said, there's a lot out there, and there's some guys I really, really respect. So I'm gonna check it out. I'm kind of thinking lunchtime. We'll see. Noon. We'll see. Okay. Peace.